that our attorney is aware of that process. Thank you.
You probably can with the mayor's direction.
And the sunshine law certainly permits that if indeed there are exigent circumstances that I'm not sure exist here. Additionally, it was my understanding that we were going to work out a standing order to handle these matters from this point on.
Alderwoman Tapman.
Yes, I want to state, just point of clarification, that it was mentioned about the Robert Rules of Order, but I just want clarification that the Sunshine Law is the overarching authority and that the Robert Rules of Order conducts the meeting, but Sunshine Law is just that, it's the law. So is that, Chairman, I'm directing this question to the attorney for clarification.
Pursuant to state law trumps Robert's Rules of Order. State law is first, your code is second, Robert's Rules of Order comes after that. So you are accurately stating that state law typically governs.
This is not a matter of state law. The board has the right to add or take away from the agenda, and we're on the meeting night, and that was the motion that's set forth. It has been properly second. We're waiting for a vote on that.
That is not the motion. The motion is approval of the agenda. That is the motion that I asked for. So if you want to put forth a motion to approve the agenda, you can do that.
No, I'm listening to the board meeting.
And if not, then someone else need to put a motion on the floor to approve the agenda.
There's a motion on the floor, Mayor, and it's been properly second. It's a point of order for a vote to go forward.
That motion is not recognized, therefore the second is not in order.
That's
So can I get a motion according to the agenda to approve the agenda?
The motion, there's a motion on the floor, Mayor. We're about to violate the process. Point of order, point of order. There is a motion on the floor that has been seconded. This is the Board of Aldermen meeting for us to conduct business. And so we're waiting to have a vote.
When I'm waiting to have a vote.
Mayor, I can't find the hand wave. So I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda. This is Alderwoman Dales. I can't find the hand wave on my screen. I'm sorry.
All right, is there a second to approve the agenda?
I second.
Been moved and properly second that we'll approve the agenda. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed?
Yes.
All right, as happened in so order. Let's move on to the presentation of unapproved minutes.
I can make the motion. I can't wave my hand. I don't see it on my screen.
Okay, I'll make the motion.
I make a motion to present the unapproved minutes of June 18, 2020, a public hearing, June 25th, 2020, June 29th, 2020, a special meeting, July 16, 2020, a regular meeting, and 7/30, 2020, a special, it says special, I guess a special meeting.
Is there a second?
Alderman Thomas.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposers, nay. Ayes have it and so ordered. Meeting will now be open to the public for 3 minutes each, please. Is there anyone from the public who would like to speak at this time?
Mayor, I'd like to make a point of order. We no longer have a quorum.
I beg your pardon?
I said we no longer have a quorum.
Madam Clerk, how many people did you count present?
One, two, three, four, five. I counted 7 present, but some have left, looks like.
Well, we had a quorum when we opened this meeting, so the meeting is open to the public.
Mayor,
Yes,
point of order. When there's no quorum, we can't conduct any city business.
this is what I'm asking for now is not city business. I'm asking for comments from the public. There's no quorum. You can't vote on city business, but you can ask for comments from the public. So do we have anybody from the public who would like to comment?
Mayor, this is Wanda Lane. I'm at
Right.
9900 Martinville. I was trying
Right.
to wait to see if anyone else would like to make a comment. But my question is, number one, at the last meeting, there was a motion made to accept specific items on the agenda. And the way the motion was made, it was very specific to say the meeting will only, and the minutes will only include these items. My question is, will the minutes still reflect comments from the public? That's the first question I have. The second question I have is, at the last meeting, Alderwoman Avant Elliott shared with us that she had been in conference with the former mayor and said that there was an employee whose salary was coming from the sewer lateral fund. And it has been coming from that fund since before your administration. So I'm not going to name the person's name because I think that's not professional. But my question is, how long has that information been public? Who else knows about it? Are we still paying this person out of that specific fund, where those funds, according to what I've learned, are to be used for sewer lateral repairs and the administration of the fund? And the person whose salary was paid out of that fund is not an administrator of that fund. So I would like to know from the attorney or whomever, how does the city plan to proceed with that information?
Madam Attorney, can you share on that? Because the only thing I know is, if Mayor Dorr and Alderwoman Elliott have been conversing about this, they're the ones who need to answer the question.
I agree with the mayor. I certainly don't have any information to share. I think Alderwoman Avant Elliott would be the appropriate person to answer that question.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, anyone else?
Yes,
All right.
Mayor.
Okay.
This is Kathy Mason at 1013 Donnell. I'd like to congratulate you for being elected as the St. Ferdinand Councilman.
Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Anyone else have a comment?
Yeah, ain't nobody against it.
I beg your pardon? Did I hear someone? All right, then we'll bring the meeting back to the agenda. Commission and boards report, Public Safety Committee. Is there someone here from Public Safety Committee?
He's not here, ma'am.
All right, we'll move down to Youth Commission.
Hi, it's Alicia Smith, Chair of the Youth Commission. Address is 9433 Dinky Drive. The Youth Commission met July the 20th. 5 of us, well, 6 of us was present, including myself. And we discussed the proper way and best practices where we could post our meetings to the public, including the Sunshine Law and how we would post our meetings. We also distributed or bagged our items of crayons and coloring books. And I distributed those items July 24th. I set up a table alongside of the, at the rec center where they were doing the food drive, but I was separate from that to make sure that the residents were receiving the coloring books and crayons. We also discussed upcoming events. The Halloween event would have been our next event. However, the Halloween event is something that was always done by the rec center and not by the Youth Commission. We were just volunteers for the Halloween celebration, and that's what was discussed.
Okay.
Does anyone have any questions that I can answer regarding the Youth Commission?
All right, seeing none, hearing none, then thank you very much for your report. Image and beautification. Is there someone from Image and Beautification?
I don't think she's here.
All right, then Park and Rec Board.
Good evening, Mayor. Would I be permitted to give the minutes for the Parks and Rec Board meeting? This is Martha.
All right, Martha, proceed.
Okay, thank you very much. The Parks and Recreation Board met on Tuesday, July 21st. It was the first time that we had met in quite a long time. So we met in the gazebo behind the rec center. I took the time to fill them in on everything that had been going on at the rec center since we had closed. We basically closed to the public on Friday, March 20th due to the COVID-19. Full-time employees were allowed to work, but part-time employees were just used minimally to assist in cleaning, where we basically did a deep clean of the entire facility, mainly focusing on restrooms, locker rooms, the indoor pool, kitchen area, that kind of thing. All of our room and our park reservations were canceled or rescheduled. And then we spent a lot of time putting in place a plan that would be acceptable to St. Louis County for reopening. And there's some guidelines in there of all the different things that we did. And we were consulting St. Louis County, the CDC, and then Starguard, who is the one that sponsors our lifeguards. And we were able to open on June 15th. I won't go into the details of that, but we are doing quite a lot to make sure that the patrons that come to the rec center, either to take a class or just general use of the facility, that they feel secure, that we're keeping it as safe as possible. We also adjusted some business hours to accommodate the change in our attendance. We are currently not open on Sundays. It just would not be wise use of part-time salaries at this time, considering that we are not able to have any room reservations. There was a long discussion about the repairs on the outdoor pool, which I would probably like to wait till another meeting. Right now, we're discussing options of just different things that we could do in order to get it open for the next swim season next May of 2021. So I'd like to just postpone that for a little bit. Alderwoman West had come. She had offered to serve as chair of the Parks and Rec Board since we don't currently have a chairperson. Let's see.
No.
No. Currently, some programs that are going on. We're going forward with the barbecue. We've got some classes going on. Everything is at a smaller capacity, but we are gradually seeing the residents come back, and that's been really nice. I wanted to discuss or leave it open that I was approached by Alderwoman Avon Elliott asking if the staff or the Park and Rec Board would be willing to disperse the masks that were left over from the COVID testing. It's my understanding that the board might be voting on that at some point, and to let you all know that yes, if you choose to have the rec center disperse those masks, we are willing to do that. We also had a discussion about a request from Alderman Carroll. He would like us to do a survey which concerns the transportation of those people that use the rec center. I think there is concern that there might be some people that want to use the center, but they just don't have a way to get there. So at this time, we are passing the survey out to as many people as possible that are using the facility to find out exactly how they get there. Do they drive? Do they get dropped off? Do they ride their bike, etc.? And we're going to put together a report for you all to review at that time. We did have a couple new programs that are in the brochure, which I was very excited about. Alderwoman West had a contact through BJC, but unfortunately, due to the COVID, they are canceling all of their in-person classes at this time. But we were going to offer a matter of balance class, which would really be beneficial to seniors or people recovering from an injury or a stroke, something like that, to educate them on how to prevent themselves from falling. And that was going to be a free program offered at the rec center. We also were going to line up a program called Stop the Bleed, which is sponsored through Washington University. And it's basically put on by physicians that come in and they target young people who might find themselves in a situation that could rapidly become unsafe, where it teaches them basic but very important first aid skills on how to perhaps treat a gunshot wound or something like that. And we would like to offer that in conjunction with our staff. I know my lifeguards are very interested in that. A couple of the programs that we normally offer, mainly the Halloween program and the Easter program, we have decided to not offer at this time. Although they were offered at no charge to the public, but they did take a great deal of part-time salaries, which at this time we just don't have. So at this time, we don't have any plans to offer those programs. We are also not offering our weight loss program, which was sponsored by BJC due to their cancellation. What else is pertinent for you all? We still have some concerns about positions that are open, full-time and part-time positions at the rec center that are open in order to get us up and running at full capacity when this virus finally leaves us. And then I am in the middle of doing the audit for our senior service van. That's going to be completed hopefully in the next week and a half. That's a 3-year audit, which greatly determines our ability to get new grants for that in the future. And then we ended with a tour of the outdoor pool, just so that the park board members could see exactly what kind of maintenance issues we are dealing with. And we plan to meet again for our August meeting. Thank you.
All righty, thank you. Planning and zoning report. Unmute.
Excuse me.
Good evening,
Excuse-
everybody. Planning and zoning will hold its next meeting in City Hall on Monday, August 10th at 7 p.m. This will be an in-person meeting. We will have masks required and 6-foot social distancing protocols will be observed. That room is already set up to allow for meetings. Agendas and background information have already been emailed to all members. Standard business will review and approve the meetings minutes for our last meeting on July 13th. One of the points we'll be taking up is a proposal to subdivide the building and property at 1023 Lewis and Clark. That might be better known as the Wirecrafters property. The owner, Mr. Jim Hennessy, will be in attendance for that. We've got some other things to discuss there that we'll do so less formally.
That concludes your report.
It is just as an aside, for the sewer lateral program, I think that Kelsey Holmes has been the inspector who's been paid out of that. And so long as he's doing that work, I believe that would be an authorized use of those funds. It may have a limitation on it. $10,000 comes to mind, but so long as he's involved in that, those funds, I believe, can be used to cover his time.
All right, thank you for that information.
Thank you.
Any questions? Anyone?
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I'm sorry. I had my hand up.
I'm sorry.
I had a couple.
That's okay. Go ahead.
I had a couple of questions for the reporter for Parks and Rec.
Yes.
Yes. I wanted to pose a question in the distribution of masks. Citizens are going to be able to get those masks. Could she share what the process is going to be? Will they have to bring their ID to pick up a package? And what would be the times for the distribution?
Okay, I did have those in your packet, I believe, that we were going to do Wednesday evenings and Saturday mornings. Some of the park board members had volunteered to do that. If not, we would fill that in with staff. We did say that we would take names and addresses because it's my understanding you wanted those to go to residents of Bell Fountain, and we would take down their addresses. But then also, it was mentioned to me that you might want to also share those with regular attendees at the rec center. But that, again, that is your choice of however you want to do that. We were just saying that we are willing to be that group that does that, if that would be helpful.
I think that's great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, thank you. Approval of the invoices over 500. Give me a motion and a second.
That was already done at the special meeting. It says in the.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Thank you. Chief's report.
Jeremy, your phone is on mute. There you go.
Hey, sorry about that. Thank you. I'm going to start with. If you're not aware, Sunday there was an incident that involved one of the police department employees. I cannot go in depth about it, but I'm going to read the statement that it was given to the news media about how it was being handled. So on Sunday, August 2nd, 2020, the Bell Fountain Neighbors Police Department was notified that a police officer with this department was allegedly involved in inappropriate activity while in the city of St. Charles. The St. Charles Police Department, the St. Charles County Police Department, the Bellefonte Neighbors Police Department, the United States Attorney's Office, and federal law enforcement agencies are actively investigating the allegations. As of this time, the officer is no longer employed by the City of Bellefonte Neighbors Police Department. The officer's employment separation has been reported to the Post Commission, who controls police licensing. Our police department will still be conducting an internal investigation concerning that incident. I also want to address the board concerning the city's substance abuse and drug testing policy. I have been looking at this for quite some time. It does address a drug-free workplace. It talks about things that are prohibited, reference to drugs and alcohol. But there are some issues with this. Number one, the city's policy does not address or test for alcohol, number one. Number two, it only applies to people who are operating city vehicles and or equipment. And my recommendation is to expand that random testing to every employee and to expand it to situations where there is some sort of reasonable belief, probable cause, where an employee should be drug tested. The police department's substance abuse and drug testing policy is a little bit more comprehensive. It discusses reasonable suspicion. It discusses what random drug testing is, testing sites, sample collection. It goes into testing and blood alcohol testing concerning vehicle accidents and the discharging of firearms. I do have a policy framework that actually addresses this on a larger scale that I think will be of the city's interest because it covers pre-employment testing, post-accident testing, reasonable suspicion or probable cause testing, testing parameters, procedures for the drug testing, what employees' responsibilities are, what supervisors' responsibilities are. It also even covers the issue of medical marijuana. I'm not asking for any vote to do anything with this tonight since we don't have a quorum, but it is something to seriously consider for maybe the next meeting as to take a look at, because the employee policy manual that covers all city employees is approved by the board. A third item, recently we had one of our older police vehicles had a catastrophic and permanent engine failure. We have three choices, and again, without the quorum, this can be held off to the next meeting, but I wanted to mention it tonight that we can either go without the vehicle, we can drop a new engine in the vehicle for the tune of about $8,000. I do have several bids, or we could pursue maybe purchasing a Missouri State Highway Patrol vehicle as an alternative to lower the cost to replace that vehicle. Please keep in mind that I am trying to keep the stress of the vehicle usage across the fleet evenly. When we start losing vehicles, we start increasing stress more on the rest of the fleet, and that's when we start incurring problems at that point. I've been working on bidding health insurance for the city employees. Currently, we're looking at 3 different providers. I should have all the information in by next week. We're looking at, just off the cuff, about a 20% increase, and I'm trying to mitigate that. And that 20% increase largely comes from that our employee pool has dropped below 50 full-time employees. When that happens, the rate at which medical insurance is calculated changes. It becomes more expensive. So hopefully bidding from several different sources might yield a very good result. There's also been an issue, and this is kind of directed at the board, that the past month, if not even longer than that, some of our vendors, and I'm not just talking about police vendors, I'm talking about vendors that the street department uses and some of the other city departments uses, have basically suspended our credit line with them. So when we need to go to places like Lowe's, for example, if we haven't paid our bills on time, they suspend our credit. I don't know what the disconnect is. I do know that when bills are turned in, that the finance clerk does generate the checks, but beyond that, I don't know why bills aren't being paid. And eventually, as bills don't get paid, eventually we will not be able to have credit with certain places because we will be considered unreliable. See, the other issue is, it just came up today. We are in need of a backup server replacement. I do have 3 bids for that. It's about $1,100 on the cheapest bid. I will bring it up during the next meeting. IT suggests that we replace it ASAP. That backup is important. The wear on that backup has been accelerated because of the power outages we've had over the last several years. Every time we lose power, and it's usually because of the telephone pole that gets hit across the street from the station, knocks out the power to the building. Those power outages actually reduce the life of that backup system. Lastly, for now, just to mention, the street department has had 3 employees test positive. The rest are being tested to my knowledge, and they're in need of some sort of way to clean their area and sanitize it, since they've had 3 tests positive. So I wanted to make the board aware of that as well.
Mayor, can I ask the chief a question? I still can't find my hand to wave.
Okay, go ahead.
Mayor, I'm sorry. Chief, we have close to about 22 citizens on the line, and
Yes.
I've been receiving a lot of calls, and the citizens want to know, was the officer terminated or did he resign?
The officer resigned.
All right, thank you.
Mayor,
Yes.
Alderman Thomas, I had a question for the chief.
All right, go
Yes,
ahead.
sir.
That's
Yeah,
you,
Chief.
K30, huh?
Huh?
That's you, K30.
Yeah, that's my hand.
Okay, that's your hand. All right.
Chief, do we have a backup generator for the police department in City Hall?
Yeah, so we do have a backup generator that actually picks up most of the city campus building. When we have a power outage, it usually kicks on within a second or two, but that jolt of that loss of energy and then the recharge of energy to the systems, especially if we're talking about that backup server, reduces that life because it puts a lot of stress on it every time it happens.
Right, right. I understand that. Okay. I just wanted to make sure. Thank you.
Mayor, if I may ask, would you like me to explain how police officers are put on administrative leave and kind of like the protocols we go through when we determine how discipline is to be handed out. I know there's been a lot of questions and comments, not only throughout St. Louis, but from what I've read, due to the articles being pushed out. I don't think some people understand how the system works when we have to actually discipline an employee.
Go right ahead, explain.
Okay, so in just very simple terms, when we have an employee that's been accused of some sort of allegation, whether it's a criminal in nature or policy violation in nature, the seriousness of the offense will prompt whether or not we put that employee on administrative leave, with or without pay. Number two, we put that employee on administrative leave because we don't want that employee working as a police officer during the time of the investigation, because we have to get our facts in order before we can determine what type of discipline that the employee must undergo. Those who think that police officers need to be fired on site, I understand why people believe that, but the adverse consequence to that is that the police officer can turn around and sue the city and most likely win for a premature or wrongful termination without due diligence. So in the case that we just went through, we did everything by policy, by the book, by best practice. I worked with the city attorney. I worked with the litigation director from the risk management firm, and I also worked with the mayor to make the best decisions that we could for the city, to protect the city and to protect the citizens. Ultimately, before we got a chance to complete the investigation, the employee decided just to resign, and that was the employee's decision. We will still complete an internal investigation, of course, based on the information that we have. But in simple terms, that's the way the system generally works. And I'm sure that Alderman Thomas can support my statements with that, seeming that he has a police background.
All righty. Thank you, Alderman Thomas. Did you want to comment on that? Shall we move on?
No, that is the way that it should happen. And that's all I have to say about it.
All right. Thank you. That concludes your report, Chief?
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you. City Attorney, did you have anything you'd like to say?
Yes, Mayor, just a couple of things. Since we have been city attorney, at the meetings, there have been complaints made by citizens about activities related to portable basketball hoops. Now, while you cannot prohibit those activities altogether, you can certainly place reasonable limitations on the time when they are engaged in. Item number 12B, which we can't get into any of this now because we don't have a quorum, but item number 12B was designed to address those issues and concerns that have been raised. Also, we are in the process of updating city ordinances to comply with Senate Bill 5 and Senate Bill 572, which is sometimes referred to as Senate Bill 5 number 2, so that the city code is in compliance. Items number B and C were prepared in an effort to address some of those concerns about bringing the city into compliance, and there will be others forthcoming. Lastly, we've also discussed at these meetings the nuisance code that was being prepared by former council Helmut Starr, along with Barbara West, Alderwoman Barbara West. We now have that code and we have reviewed it and made changes to it. And I understand that it will be on the agenda for the next meeting. That completes my report, Mayor.
Thank you so much. Just a word from the mayor. Just let me share with you that for those who may not know, that the mayor sets the agenda, not the president of the Board of Aldermen. The president of the Board of Aldermen has no authority other than the authority that I give her when I'm absent or I'm incapacitated or something. And so this gang of five has lassoed this board, and I'm taking it back from them, and they'll have a little problem with that. But I'm standing my ground on that, and they can leave whenever they get ready. But when we have these board meetings, we ought to be about the business of this city. It is not personal, and all of this personal stuff that they bring up has no business in this meeting. And we're not going to stack the meeting with a whole lot of stuff while we sitting here all night long. I'm not having that anymore. The mayor is in charge of this board, and at some point, the board president will understand that. Are there any reports from the board that remains?
Yes, sir. Mr. Chair,
Mm-hmm.
I have not a report per se, but I do have an announcement I would like to make.
Go right ahead, please.
Yes, to the board members that are left and the citizens that are on the line. We are in the process of planning for an innovative public safety and crime prevention summit. I've posted information on Nextdoor, and I'll be asking permission to post that on our website as well. This is an opportunity where every home and one vehicle will can get a crime prevention or safety assessment. According to what that assessment shows, we have partners who are partnering with us to help get crime prevention and public safety items for a home and those vehicles, i.e. smoke detectors, fire extinguishers, club bars, ignition locks, ring bell alarm system, active alarm systems. And those things can be, floodlights, porch lights, and or additional street lights. And those things can be installed or pick up by citizens. We're in the planning stage. So anyone who wants to help in planning, our partners are our police department, the Riverview Gardens Protection Division, the Metro North Fire Division, the City of Molina Acres, A1 Responds, UMSL University, and Metro Lighting and Ameren. We're waiting on a final response from the Ethical Society of Police, Washington University, and St. Louis University Extension. That summit is scheduled for October the 3rd. It'll be held at our rec center from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. We will be practicing social distancing and all of the guidelines pertaining to the state of Missouri and CDC, which would be 50 persons in the gym, social distancing, but it also will be live streamed and on Zoom. That's where we'll have presenters I forget, we'll also have a sociologist. So we'll have presenters, a presentation by our own Chief Eiler, by Chief Goldstein, the sociologist that it's a surprise, I'm not going to say right now, and also from the Ethical Society of Police to help citizens understand how we can deal with the crime issues and those items that we're looking to be donated. They can go home with them to either be installed by them, or we're looking at if our fire department or police department will be doing that. So if you want to be a part of this team, we'll be meeting on Wednesday, starting this Wednesday at 6:00 p.m. in City Hall. And we will be practicing social distancing, and masks will be required again every Wednesday, starting this Wednesday at 6:00 p.m. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Alderman Thomas.
Yes, sir. First of all, I'd like to thank everyone for their prayers during my current illness and recuperation, and just to let the world know and the citizens of Bell Fountain know that COVID-19 is real.
Yes.
And that you need to practice all that you can to ward off this disease, because it is a pandemic. It is affecting people daily. If you haven't been tested, get tested. And if you know you've been around someone, get tested again. That's all I have, and I'm happy to be back and participating for the citizens of Ward 3 in the city of Bell Fountain neighbors. Thank you.
Thank you, and we're happy to have you back. Alderwoman Dales, have you rejoined us? Okay, I beg your pardon?
No, that was me, Mayor. I don't see her.
Okay, I think
Mayor, she indicated, I got a text from her saying that she lost her internet connection and she's trying to get right back on.
okay then. Well, we'll move on. So we'll turn the meeting over to the public for 3 minutes each. Is there a member of the public who would like to speak?
Yes, hi, Mayor.
Hi.
This is, I'm speaking as a resident as well as an employee rather. And I work at the street department. This is Paul Reed. And I have a question for you and the board. As you all are aware that we have a situation going on within the street department, we have 2 tested positive and 1 maybe. And the rest of us has all been tested, went out and got tested and brought our paperwork back, and we all tested negative. And at this time, we don't know which direction to go in because we don't know what's going on. And there's no one guiding us, in the right direction. And I'm just trying to figure out what should we do.
Okay, well, you'll be given those directions probably tomorrow. But I think what needs to happen is you guys need to wear those masks down there and practice that social distances like you've been instructed to do. And we need to sanitize the place down there.
We don't have anything to sanitize with, and we don't know how to really sanitize that facility ourselves. People is moving around. Hello?
I'm not expecting you to do it. We'll get it done.
Okay. And as far as the workers, what should we do?
You need to practice social distancing. Wear your mask, because I've been down there and I've seen you guys walking around and doing your thing without your mask on. That's what you should do.
Well, this recently just happened this week from one of the employees hanging out, you know, with some employees of Riverview. And the rest of us, we try to practice social distancing the best we can, but it's always a time where we're crossing paths with each other. And we have our masks, but we had some, you know, some of us was turned down from getting masks when we asked for them.
Well, I'm not aware of that. I mean, we got some masks there if you need them.
Yeah, we had.
I don't know who turned you down for masks.
Well, we had a person go upstairs the other day and was turned down from getting masks because they said a mask was for the residents. So
okay,
I don't know.
I'll find out how that happened because we give masks to everybody.
Yeah.
So Martha, could you? We'll probably get with you, and you can tell us about the company that sanitized the rec center and how that happened, so that we can do that.
I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor, there was no company. We did that ourselves. Our staff sanitized everything.
Right. All right, thank you.
Yeah.
And I think we can do the same thing down there because we have a trained person down there who knows how to deal with that.
And Amy has purchased some really good sanitizer that is quite inexpensive and easy to use. I'm sure she'd be willing to share that resource with you guys tomorrow.
Okay.
Can I make a comment?
Yeah. Amy, would you do that for us, please? I don't know if she's still on or not, but I got a hand here. Alderwoman Tatman.
I'll acquiesce to Alderwoman Dales, and then when she finished, because I want to share information concerning COVID-19.
Okay. Alderwoman Dales, would you speak, please?
Okay, Mayor, that's a company, and I can ask the shop. They come in because of the tools and the different things that they have. They spray. There's a spray that a company comes in and sanitizes things. So I can hopefully give that information to you and to the city clerk. So maybe that might be a way because of the type of facility it is in the basement. So
Okay.
that's all I wanted to share.
Thank you. Alderwoman Tatman.
Yes, sir. I want to share information concerning COVID-19 and listening to Mr. Reed. To the citizens, with me working closely with the CDC and the St. Louis County Department of Public Health, I learned a lot. And so what I want to share, one of the things that are vitally important, as the mayor stated, that we wear our mask and constantly sanitize, wash our hands, and practice social distancing. But one thing that's vitally important, I want to stress, according to the CDC and the St. Louis County Department of Public Health, there is no way to determine when, how, where, and who COVID-19 has been contracted. So I want to say that again. There's no way to pinpoint where somebody caught it, who they caught it from, and how they caught it. So I want us to be cautious when we're sharing information, because that's what's happening now, and I understand it, because people are afraid. And I'm glad I had an opportunity to learn those things as we did those testings, because it was vitally important that we not only protect ourselves, but we practice protecting each other. So if you hear someone say, well, I caught it from this person, or I caught it when I went to the store, that's not proper, because there's no way that you can trace or track how, where, who, or when. And I just wanted to share that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, please.
Can I make comment on
Yes.
this issue? Okay, so recently, as of, I think it was like July 30th, I sent out an email to the police department, and I sent out an email to all other city employees. Alderwoman Tapman's correct. It is very hard to trace the source of where you can contract COVID from. It's like the flu. But each employee needs to be responsible for their workspace where they use. So, for example, like the police department, the orders are, if you use a workspace to, let's say, write a report or make phone calls, you have to wipe that space down when you are done. After you use a patrol car, you have to wipe that space down when you are done. That mitigates some of the problems. But at the end of the day, you don't know where that comes from. But each employee needs to take a proactive approach to sanitizing after they use equipment. That way they don't accidentally spread the virus from things that they touch or use to anybody else.
This is Amy. I do have some Sansol. I will be glad to share it with the police department tomorrow. I don't know if it's a matter of too much too late right now, because we have been sanitizing since the very beginning and we have had no problems. But I will be glad to share the Sansol with them and give them the instructions on how to use it.
Good. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Mayor, I have one more question.
Okay.
And this may be for the attorney or Dinah. Since we had 3 people who has tested positive for COVID, and the other ones have went to get their test, shouldn't they be in quarantine?
Yeah, the ones that tested positive, they're home. They are quarantined.
No, I'm saying the ones that I guess, are they waiting on test? Are they waiting for the test to come back? And if they are, shouldn't they be in quarantine until their test come back to indicate if they're negative or positive?
We already have the test results,
Oh, okay. Okay. I'm sorry.
and all of them turned out negative.
Okay, that's good.
All right. Thank you. Okay then. So, and no one from the public wishes to speak, so then we will adjourn the meeting.
Mayor, they do want to speak, but they said Fran has muted all of them.
Oh, okay. Unmute.
Oh, wait a minute. No, I didn't. No.
Those are the texts that I received.
Okay, well, look, I just pressed unmute all and people are still muted. So no, I didn't mute them.
Well, I'm not unmuted. I was muted, but I'm not, but now I am unmuted.
Okay.
Well, I didn't do that one because there was noise coming from that. Okay.
All right.
Okay, and you're and city clerk, I have pulled out my Robert's Rules for Dummy book, so you're probably correct on that.
Okay.
And I was flipping its page, and I'm hoping that the meeting is being recorded, because what I found was, with a few exceptions, members must be recognized by the chair before engaging in debate or making a motion. So there seemed to be some misunderstanding at the beginning of the meeting as to who was and was not recognized. And so that could be cleared up, because I don't recall hearing the mayor recognized. But as a citizen, it's disturbing when we take our time out to listen to the business of the city and half of the board decides to mutiny because they're not having their way. So I'm going to ask the remaining members to please prioritize, please focus, please keep the citizens first. Please let the COVID-19, in my opinion, and it's personal, but I'm so happy to hear Alderman Thomas back. because this is a very serious issue, and that's all that my neighbors are talking about. So I think that that should be, in my opinion, one of those top priorities that you have. And regarding comments about what's happening in the street department, I thought there was a manager for the street department. Maybe we should hear from that person as to what they're doing to try to help in the department, because we, oh, okay. So then it goes to the next person then. Is there an assistant manager? You've got COVID too? I don't know. I'm not sure of the hierarchy. I'm not sure of the hierarchy. However, these are priorities that I believe that the board should be concentrating on. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else? Anyone else from the public? Okay, I can't tell if someone is trying to get on and muted or what. But all righty, thank you all so much for being here tonight. And I apologize for the confusion up front, but you know, it'll calm down when everybody get their head on straight and get these ordinances correct in their head. Thank you so much. Is a motion to adjourn?
It's Alderman Thomas. I got my hand up.
Oh, you sure do, don't you? Alderman Thomas.
I make a motion that the meeting be adjourned.
Alderwoman Dales, I second that.
All right, it's been moved and second to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed is nay. Ayes have it, and the meeting is adjourned. Thank you all so much, and have a great weekend.
All right.
Good night,
Thank you, Mayor.
everyone.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. Have a good evening.
Good night.
Good night.